Welcome to the Epcotian Adventure,
a podcast where we'll talk about all things Disney,
including tips and tricks, festivals and favorites, and the very latest in news and reviews.
But we're still old enough to remember when Figment wasn't such a stinker. Literally.
This is episode 23. The top 12... Really? Smells? Okay.
Just go with it.
Okay, the top 12 smells at Walt Disney World.
Or, who knew water could smell so good?
Now, please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast as we embark on our Epcotian adventure. Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 23 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And today we're going to take a journey into your imagination. No.
Well, through the sense
of
smell.
Yeah. Unlike Journey into Your Imagination with Figment, we're not going to fart on you in a skunk smell. I promise.
It's skunk spray. It's not,
Well, it's burning coffee, actually. So
yeah, it's true.
But what we're going to talk about today is kind of whimsical. This is really just kind of a fun one we're doing. And it literally is the top 12 smells at Walt Disney World.
Now, if you've been to the parks, you know that Disney is famous for doing what they like to call 4D presentations.
Which are good.
Yeah,
and
so that
bad.
You're right,
Yeah.
depending on the situation. But they do like to do a little extra things in some of the shows. They like to do smells in some of the rides. Some of them purposeful. Some of them just over the years. That's how they have...
That's how things have evolved,
Yeah.
really. WDI actually has what they call a smellitizer. It's something that puts out a specific smell in an area. It's used on Main Street, for instance, to put out the smell of things that are baking.
Yeah, if you think that candy smell is natural... We've got some bad news for you.
Yeah, it's you're going to find quite a few things. No, again, these are our 12 favorite smells. So these are things that have really hit us in the feels and the nose. Smell is just one of those things that makes you remember specific points in time and places.
Yes.
To this day, and I've mentioned this before, but the smell of the blacktop here, like wet blacktop, reminds me of Kings Island. The very first time we went there in the 90s, or the 80s, actually.
I still love that smell.
Or Cedar Point, same thing, because they always do blacktop at the beginning of the season. And then when we worked for Silver Dollar City, we had that same thing where at the beginning of the season, they would blacktop the driveways. And it's like, oh, Kings Island. Oh, no. But kind of thing, that smell just brings you back. And
this is a scientific fact, and I am quite often sarcastic, but I'm being serious now, that smell is the one sense we have that bypasses your thought process. It is linked directly to the part of your brain that accesses your memories. So you don't think about it. You don't try to remember, what does that smell? It's boom, that's what it is.
Yeah,
and that's why these smells are so linked into our core memories as Disney fans. Because they really do. They put you right back in the moment. Yeah,
I mean, there's the smell of diesel. Being a Disneyland person as a kid, the smell of the diesel exhaust reminds me of the subs from the old Sub Lagoon.
That's so funny.
And the Utopia. I mean, it's just something, and I-5, probably. Basically, Tomorrowland at Disneyland. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And these now, unlike some of our others, we've actually already pre-ranked these. Ranked, see what I did there? Because some of the smells are ranked.
What an incredible smell you've discovered!
So, our number 12
yes.
favorite Disney smell, and this is an overall kind of encompassing one. This is Disney food. Now, we had probably 30 different ones we could have mentioned on here. Churros, popcorn, the bakery, like we just said, the smells on Main Street. Yeah. But really, everybody has their favorite Disney food smell. For me, it's walking into the Pop Century, and it's that waffle smell. It's the waffles in the morning and the waffle cones from the ice cream area.
And I think some of that is manufactured
and I do think it is. I believe that is
but
correct.
It is delightful.
And I mean, what's your favorite food
My
smell?
favorite food smell is, this is so specific and it's weird, but there's a popcorn stand at Disney Hollywood Studios.
I know which one you're talking about.
It's outside the Animation Plaza.
Yeah, by the Brown Derby?
By the Brown Derby.
I know where you're talking about.
And for some reason, that particular cart, the popcorn tastes better and it smells better. I don't know why. It's science.
It is, yes. And we've actually, for science, have eaten popcorn and churros at most of the popcorn and churro stands at all of Walt Disney World. But, you know, you've been there a few times, you have to.
At Disney Animal Kingdom, just on the other side of the bridge, is another very, very good one. And again, I don't know why.
True.
Don't know why.
It's actually, I think it has to do with the atmosphere and where it's at. And it just, the surrounding area has beautiful smells along with it because of the Brown Derby. And
that's true.
You know, there's a lot of other things that go with that. But yeah, that is funny. That is a very popular one. And actually, that one and the one at the exit of the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. That's a hard one to say.
That's hard to say.
Runaway Railway. I feel like Wallowitz all of a sudden. But we've gotten a lot of churros from there. We've got a lot of popcorn from there too. But it's a Disney food smell, so that is our number 12. It really does lend itself towards your interpretation of what your favorite Disney smell is when it comes to food. But everything else we're going to talk about now is more attraction space.
Yes, so. And more specific. Leading first to our first attraction, number 11, is going to be back at Disney Animal Kingdom.
Valley of Moara. There is something just so memorable about on Flight of Passage, that smell that comes when you jump off of the cliff and down into the valley on the back of your Banshee. I don't even know what the smell is.
I don't know. It is otherworldly in a very good way.
Yeah, it's very unique. There's just something about it, though, that whatever that smell is, I don't smell it anywhere else, though.
It's very specific to that ride, and it's floral, but it's woodsy, and it's oceanic. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a little bit of each of those things. And
there's really like a little sea salt mixed in. I don't know how they created it, but WDI is brilliant when it comes to creating smells that fit the environment.
Yes.
But that smell for the Valley of Moara that they do have for that attraction is unforgettable.
Yes, and so pleasant.
So number 10 is the Polynesian Village Resort in the lobby. And if you listen to the last episode, we actually mentioned this, where as you walk in, you have that floral, tropical smell. And it used to have the water smell with it that was part of the waterfalls, that kind of humid, almost after thunderstorm smell you would get. But now you have more of the food smell from Ohana and from Kona. The tropical scent that they do, I'm sure, pipe in still. But all the tropical flowers and plants outside, too, really lends itself towards a very specific Hawaiian feel. If you heard us on the last episode, you heard me gush about the Polynesian Village Resort, and part of it is that smell hitting that core memory.
I love that. And all of the hotels do have a unique scent going on in their lobby, and a lot of them are known specifically for that. So we do have a couple of those on our list as well. But like you said, it's not just the smell that they are presenting to you, that tropical getaway kind of smell for the Poly, but you get those ambient smells as well. Like you said, you get the Ohana mixed in, and you get the Captain Cook's right there mixed in, and the things that they don't necessarily mean to blend with that, but it just makes it all the more memorable. That's
another thing I love about walking around the lobby of the Poly, is as you walk through, the smells do change, but there's not a bad one amongst them. It really just brings back the feel that you had the first time you were there in that core memory, but it also just puts you in the feel for that resort.
Yes.
Over almost any other resort, too.
The next one on our list is associated with another resort. This is another one we mentioned on one of our favorite places to stay, and this is Fort Wilderness. Now, the lobby of Fort Wilderness is small. You just go and you check in. It's not someplace that you access over and over. So what we're referencing here is the actual wilderness.
Yeah, the Florida trees, the Florida rivers, the Florida alligator poop.
Even the
maybe not
dirt.
The pony farm being there. There's just
It's the outdoors.
It's the great outdoors. It literally is what Bear Band, the Country Bear Jamboree, sang about in their show. Nothing like the great outdoors. Oh.
Keep you from growing old.
And over any other place on the resort, that is the one place, the Fort Wilderness Campground area, all over. There is just the pine smell, the smell of the campfires.
Yes.
It reminds me
and
of
the grills. There are grills
Yes.
outside at the cabin, and actually the RV places probably have them as well.
They do, yeah. All of the campgrounds have the grill, and people take a big advantage of that. And it smells like a summer vacation, more so than anywhere else on property.
When we were kids, we went to a summer camp up in the hills of Southern California, and every time we walk onto Fort Wilderness Campground, that's where I'm immediately back in my childhood.
Also, speaking of wilderness, our next favorite, so number 8 in our list of top 12 favorite smells, Wilderness Lodge. Now, Wilderness Lodge has its own unique smells, very much similar to the Wilderness Campground. But at Christmas, specifically when you walk in, the Christmas tree and the Christmas tree pine smell that you get specific to that resort is unlike any other resort on property when it comes to that Christmas vibe and Christmas smell. It puts me back to when we'd be up in the hills or the mountains of California at Christmas time.
At Big Bear Lake.
Big Bear Lake, or up by Lake Alpine. You would go up there and hit those cabins up there during the wintertime, and the Christmas tree, along with the wooded scent that's already inside the Wilderness Lodge, just takes me back to my childhood, and I absolutely just giggle when when we go over there during Christmas. Christmas tree hopping is a thing.
And it's a really cool thing. All of the resorts have their own specially themed Christmas tree during the holidays, and it is they're stunning. They are absolutely stunningly beautiful. They're never the same. They're different every year. And I do think that Wilderness Lodge probably enhances their pine scent a little more because they do have that wilderness going for them. But just to clarify as well, Wilderness Lodge is a deluxe resort. It is not the same as Wilderness Campground.
That is true.
They're very, very different, even though they both have that wilderness in there.
Yeah. Campground's literally a campground where you can actually camp out in a tent, in an RV, or in one of the cabins that they have there. It is a large-scale resort that is literally a campground, whereas the Wilderness Lodge is more like the lodges that you would see at the national parks, like the Grand Canyon Lodge or at Zion National Park. And that leads us into our next one. Along those same lines, Sue, you were just talking about how it is for the resorts at Christmas time.
Yes.
Our number 7 goes back to that same kind of feel. The Grand Floridian at Christmas is a gingerbread extravaganza. They literally build a walk-through gingerbread house.
It's amazing.
But the entire resort, from that lobby inside,
they bake it right
all the way
there
through the outside.
You can walk in and buy a shingle.
Yeah,
that's actually a thing. So, the whole lobby smells like fresh baked gingerbread, and it is absolutely to die for. So that is one, again, like we were saying, doing the Christmas tree hopping at Christmas time. If you ever get to do this, and I highly recommend it, do not skip the G-Flow. It is our favorite at Christmas time because of that gingerbread. Buy yourself a little treat and walk around. The store where they sell those is actually inside a gingerbread house. And again, it's different every year. The bakers and the artisans just go all out. It is phenomenal.
They start creating them in summer so that they have everything ready to go by the time Christmas is there. You can actually watch them build it piece by piece as they go through the process. But as Sue said, don't miss the G-Flow. Along with the Contemporary, do a monorail crawl to see the Christmas trees.
The boardwalk has a carousel that they do that's also made of gingerbread, which is phenomenal.
So leaving the hotels and going back into the parks, really, the parks have most of the smells that we do think about. So the top of our list really is park heavy here. So what's number 6 there, sis?
Number 6, we're going to go over to Magic Kingdom. And this is going to be from PhilharMagic. So I'm sure just saying the name, you probably already know the scent that we're referring to. But Rod?
During the Be Our Guest sequence, the apple pie, or the burnt apple pie, as a lot of people refer to it as, is one of our favorite smells of any attraction at Magic Kingdom. It's just so unexpected in that show. I love PhilharMagic. It's one that we don't miss. We see it every time. It's a great place to get out of the heat. But it's also just a really fun show. But during the Beauty and the Beast segment, when the apple pie comes up and you get that whiff of apple pie and poor Donald gets his face singed a bit.
Yeah. And this is one of those 4D experiences that we were talking about, because not only do they pipe in scents, but when the champagne corks go off, they shoot wind past you, and there's things happening in the lobby. So many people miss the duck butt.
Yeah.
So at the end of the film, Donald is shot off through
a
towards
cannon.
you.
Yeah, or not a cannon, from a tuba.
So he's shot off towards you in the 3D experience, but he actually lands in the wall at the back of the theater, and there's an animatronic Donald Duck butt in the wall. You've got to turn around and see it. It is so funny, and so many people miss it because they don't think to turn around.
Yeah, I actually did some work on training tools for Hong Kong Disneyland. Hey, Rod worked at the parks. Drink! There's the drinking game. And when we were setting up the training guides for PhilharMagic at Hong Kong Disneyland, I actually got to see a schematic of the attraction, and it's literally called the Duck Butt Room. That is not a joke. That is in the rooms that they're naming off in the attraction for the leads office and for the restrooms. That is the Duck Butt Room.
So don't miss it.
Don't miss it.
All right, number 5 is again an attraction. Rod, enlighten us.
This one's very specific, but this is just one of those things that's been around for a long time, and it's a core memory again. It is the Rome, or more specifically, the Library of Alexandria burning in Spaceship Earth at Epcot. There was actually a time when, for some bizarre reason, we found a hairbrush in a bathroom at our folks' house, and Sue comes running out and goes, smell this, what does this smell like?
Well, before that even, Mom had found it, and she's like, this hairbrush stinks.
Oh,
what is
that's
this?
right.
And I smelled it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Rome burning. And Rod wasn't home. So I held on to it, and when he got home, I had him smell it, and he goes, oh, that's Rome burning. And Mom was like, you guys planned that.
It is such a random smell, and it's one of the few in Spaceship Earth. They don't actually have a ton of them in there.
No, they don't, but that one is very memorable.
But that one's very specific to that attraction, and because we're huge Epcot fans and huge Spaceship Earth fans,
yes,
our number 5 had to be Rome burning. And again, how do you explain that to somebody who's never been on the attraction? So if you're not familiar with it, when you go through, you'll definitely smell and see and hear and feel Rome burning, and there you go.
One thing I want to mention about this particular scent is every time I am so impressed with the directionality of this scent, because it is around a corner, and you do not smell it until you see Rome burning.
And then when you leave past it, even, you don't smell it much past it, too.
Yeah, you get right past it into
where
you get the first backup system and all that. You don't smell it anymore. I am so impressed with how they contain that scent, because some of the others we're going to mention are not so much like that.
No, and the next one is that way. The next one actually goes back to one of the resort hotels, and this one is, again, this goes back to because Sue and I stayed here very, very first time we went to Walt Disney World. So the smell of the inside of the Contemporary. Now, I've been told that the smell actually is carpet cleaner. Now, I don't know if that's 100% true or not, but I've actually smelled candles that they have that mimic the smells. A lot of the ones we're mentioning here. And the one for the inside of the Contemporary, I swear it smells like a carpet cleaner. I don't know what else it could be.
I think this is another one like we were talking about with the Poly, where they have a scent for Contemporary, but it's blended with the scent of whatever they use to clean the carpets.
I guess so.
And that has become the signature scent rather than what they intended. But it is, it's memorable.
I don't know what it is, but it permeates the entire resort. It's in the convention center. It's in what used to be the arcade, but that whole lobby and that whole concierge area that they have downstairs, and then on the 4th floor upstairs, the entire concourse smells like this. You even can smell it when they open the windows or doors on the monorail. You're hit with it, and it's not a bad smell.
No, it's a fantastic
very
smell.
Welcoming smell, especially if you've got
clean.
memories of that resort. It smells clean. That's a great way to put it. It smells contemporary.
Yes.
There we go. I don't even know what it is, but there's something about that smell that just takes me back. And again, every time I go through there, I just smile.
And even over the other resorts that we've mentioned, this is the one where as soon as you walk in the doors or as soon as you step off the monorail, the first thing we do is take a big old deep breath, because that smell is just ingrained in our DNA.
Yeah, and again, it brings back all those memories from when we were kids, and also now that we're adults, all of the good times we've had there at the lounges and at the restaurants. And it's just part of the Disney World
experience.
Mystique. Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Oh, Mystique. I like that.
Mystique, yes.
Very nice. All right, on to number 3. This one is one of the more popular ones, of course.
And this one's actually not a smell, but a range of smells, and is one of the, like Sue, one of the most popular smells on the entire park or the entire resort. Most people will say, if you mention the word Soarin', they're going to go, oh, the blank smell. There are multiple smells from Soarin', so we didn't pick just one. We picked Soarin's smells.
And we're including Soarin' over California and Soarin'
around
the world.
Yeah.
Over the world.
So there's the original opening of this back in Disney California Adventure in 2002. You could smell the orange groves.
That was the most popular one.
Here's a little known fact. When they're flying over the orange, and I'm doing bunny ears because this is orange groves, you're actually flying over some groves in Camarillo, California. Those aren't oranges, they're avocados.
Yeah, you should be smelling guacamole at that point.
Yeah, the smell of avocados is dirt, so they went with the orange smell.
And it's become iconic to that attraction. Even though the orange scent isn't in the new version, people still associate it with the ride, which is funny.
In my opinion, in the new version of Soarin' Around the World, my favorite of all of the smells in there is the earth smell that you get with the elephants when they're kicking up the dust. I don't know why. Probably because, again, when we were kids, we grew up going to the Central Valley of California quite a bit, and that smell there is all over that valley because of all the agriculture. So I think that just hits a lot of core kid memories. But it's fun, too. I don't know why.
It is, and it's a unique scent. It's not one that you expect to smell. And it smells like grasslands. It smells earthy, and
it's a welcoming smell, though.
Yes,
again, still.
Very homey.
But there's also jasmine when you go over by the Taj Mahal.
I love that one.
There's
that tropical scent, the water.
Yeah, the ocean scent when you go through Fiji.
Yes. So there's a lot of really, really good ones in that one.
But when it comes to overall attractions that people remember for the smells, it's always Soarin'.
Yes.
So that was our number 3.
Had to make the list, of course.
These last two are going to be pretty similar.
Very similar.
But yet they're still completely different.
And we'll explain.
Well, let's explain. Our number 2, and for me, this is where Sue and I differed a little bit. My number 2, in my opinion, or this number 2 was going to be my number 1 and vice versa. We settled on this for good reasons, but number 2 is Pirates, the pirate water smell, which is probably the most iconic smell in all of the Disney properties. It is so unique to Disney Pirates. It's also, you can smell it kind of within Small World and some other water-based attractions, but because of the age of both Pirates at Disneyland, Pirates at Magic Kingdom, there's a musty smell that goes with it, but it's actually a chemical smell that they use in the water to keep down the microbes and to keep it clean.
And it is such an iconic smell, and it's one that cannot be duplicated, and it should have been number 1.
It should have been, but I do agree with our number 1 choice here for a specific reason.
Well, and I'm going to explain why I convinced Rod, I talked him into compromising, because the last time we rode Pirates at Disney World, it
feels like they've almost purposely put that smell into the attraction.
They've started selling candles and air fresheners and other things that are scented to smell like Pirates.
Pirate water, yeah.
But like we said, it's not a scent that you can duplicate. So because they're selling these products now, they have started putting those products in the ride to make it smell like it. And it's not the same. And it makes me sad. It makes me a little bit angry. But the traditional Pirates water smell, and if you want to smell it in its purest form, you have to go to Disneyland, and as soon as you walk into the building and you see the horseshoe, you can smell that classic, pure Disney water smell.
And that's, for me, that's why it was my number 1 originally, is because, again, here, get ready to drink, here it comes. My first attraction working at Disneyland in 1987 was Pirates of the Caribbean. And so, for me, the initial feel of being a cast member for the first time is associated with that pirate water smell. And again, that smell just brings me back to those first few days where I learned how to group boats and how to go arg a lot. Really, they didn't teach us that. But for me, that pirate water smell is my favorite overall smell of anything, and it really is the most iconic smell around the resort.
And had they left it alone, it would be the number 1 spot. And maybe that last time through was a fluke. Maybe it's not a permanent thing. They were trying something out. I don't know. But it made me really sad. So it slipped to number 2.
The number 1 is very, very similar to this, but this is very, very specific to a location at Epcot. This is on the Livin' with the Land. After you start into the attraction and you go through the rainforest, you approach the area that's just below where you can look up and see the rotating restaurant and you have the alligators. There's a waterfall right there. And that smell of that water, along with the smells from the rainforest area and the mixture of everything. It's pirate water plus.
Yes.
Is the best way to put it.
Yes. And now that we've discussed what they've done to the pirate water at Disney World, this is where you can find it in its best form now for that classic Disney water smell.
Yeah, and it's a very short area to smell that smell.
It
Whereas
is. I
pirates,
soak
you
it
can
up
smell
as
it
much
all
as
over
we
the
can
place.
as we pass through.
But we go through that section and we're just like, oh, it's the perfect Disney smell.
It really is. And a lot of that, I guess, is nostalgia. I don't know. When we went through with our friend Catherine for her first time, I was like, this is the Disney water smell. It's coming up. It's coming up. And we passed by and I'm like, this is it. And I'm like inhaling as hard as I can. And she's like, really? This is a good thing?
So yeah, it may not be everybody. So this may be a little controversial even if you're listening. It's really what hits you in the feels. And for us, this is the biggest one. It really is. It's not only the perfect Disney smell, it's the perfect Disney water smell.
Yes.
And that, along with the memories that it's associated with, is why we ranked it number 1.
Absolutely. And I am curious, in my experience, in my knowledge, that smell has not been successfully duplicated. There are lots of companies out there who make car fresheners and who make candles and who make room sprays that claim to be this smell.
Yeah,
I have not
usually
found
called pirate water or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or pirate life or something of that nature. If you found one that actually is this smell, I would love to know.
Oh, please put it in the comments and let us know because we would love to have it in our house.
Yes.
We've tried several of them and they don't really do it.
Nope. Too many chemicals. They're too bright. They're not musty enough.
Well, talking about Disney smells, we can't get away without mentioning the top 3 worst Disney smells.
Oh, yeah. You know where we're headed
and
here.
I have a feeling you already probably have the same list in your head. Whether it's the same ranking or not, get it, rank, smells. I did it again.
We already did that, but that's still funny.
An old joke. Okay. Anyway, so our number 3 worst Disney smell, in our opinion, journey into your imagination with Figment, the skunk smell.
The stupid skunk. Okay,
Why?
so he does the thing, he sings the song, he makes a rhyme. There's all these other scents that it could be that they tease you. Oh, maybe it's rose. Maybe it's vanilla. No. Of course it's skunk.
Yeah, in Disney Are You Listening and other episodes, we've talked about how we don't like that current version of Imagination. And probably about 90% of it is that one scene with that one smell. Now, the smell itself is the smell of burnt coffee. It is mimicking skunk smell. So if you know what it is, it's not that bad. But
it's not great.
It's not great. And you don't want that when you're trying to have a nice, joyful ride through an attraction.
Well, and here we go back to what I was saying about Spaceship Earth and Rome burning and how that scent is so successfully contained. As soon as you go into that room with the giant casino wheel thing,
with the slot machine.
With the slot machine.
Which I usually really like, but
you automatically smell that smell before they've even done the gag. Gag.
Yeah, it really is. Gag. Because it's ranked 3 because you gag on the rank.
Anyway, that smell has just permeated that room. So, you know what? Disney, if you're listening, change it. Don't make it gross. Make it vanilla. Make it coffee. Make it change. You know you can. You can have different scents.
Do different scents so that you maybe 1 out of every 6 times you get that.
Right. That would be actually super fun.
Yeah, so you don't actually get skunk. Anyway, we're harping on it a little too much here.
But it's gross. Don't do it.
Our number 2.
We're going to head back over to Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Another attraction.
One, you already can. I already know you know what we're talking about here. Because there's only one smell at Animal Kingdom that people routinely avoid. And it's on the attraction that most people routinely avoid. And if you listen to our episode a few times ago about Disney Are You Listening, we even mentioned this. Get rid of Tough to Be a Bug, or at very bare minimum, please, get rid of the stink bug.
The stink bug.
And again, it's the same thing that they were trying to do with Figment and make it, ooh, gross, ooh, for the kids. And for the rest of us, it's just, I don't want to do it ever again because of that.
Well, there's many reasons I don't want to do Tough to Be a Bug again. But I don't understand the obsession with thinking that that's the way that you get kids to like your ride, by grossing them out. There's lots of different ways you could get their attention. There's lots of different ways.
Oh, and that attraction has lots of them.
Yeah, it really
the giant
does.
spiders.
As they're all screaming.
Hopper's even intimidating for kids.
Well, and
He's
the
so
bees
large.
stinging you in the back.
That part.
That
actually made
is a
me
nightmare.
mad the first time that happened to me.
Yeah, the whole attraction is a nightmare. But the stink bug, come on.
Yeah,
Talk about adding insult to injury.
At least with Figment, you can, if you know what the smell is and you know it's the coffee smell, you can kind of go, okay, I can rationalize it. This one has no place ever in a theme park.
Well, and here's the thing. At least with Figment, when he sprays you with the skunk, immediately you leave the room. You go on to the next room. Tough to Be a Bug, you're still there. It's a show. You're not going anywhere until the show's over.
So our number one puts both of these together. A bad smell, a theater, and you're strapped to the seat.
Yeah.
You cannot get away from this. And I'm sorry, I love Stitch. Stitch is one of my favorite characters of all time, but Stitch's Great Escape is the number one worst smell ever.
Now this was
at Walt Disney World.
This was at Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
This took the place of Alien Encounter.
Yes.
Extraterrestrial Alien Encounter.
And which took the place
So they made it more
Journey
family friendly by putting it to be Stitch instead of this horrible thing that's killing people around you.
Right.
Which, was a step up. However,
whose idea was the chili dog? Please.
How did that ever make it out of the blue sky room? Seriously.
Not only could you not rationalize it in your olfactory senses, you couldn't even get away from it. There's a shoulder harness holding you to the seat when the smell gets pumped into your nostrils.
Well, and the extra bonus is that because he's supposed to be right in front of you, everybody gets it just as strong.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it.
There was no way to avoid that smell, and it was rancid.
And
I know
again,
it was supposed to smell like chili, but it was just, I don't know what it was. It was horrid.
But again, Stitch, he could have been eating pineapple. He could have been eating something tropical. It could have been a delightful smell. But no. We were given chili dog burps.
I hate to end the podcast like this on a sour note, so folks, tell us what your favorite smells at Walt Disney World are. We would love to know, and I'm sure the other people that are listening and reading would love to know what your favorite smells are. It's a controversial thing because it's so subjective.
It's so personal.
It is, and like Sue said, it triggers those memories. So everybody's got a favorite smell. What's yours?
And I want to know if you're in the majority of the people who think that the Disney water smell is iconic and wonderful, or if you're in that minority, like our friend Catherine, who doesn't quite get it.
That's fine. She can be wrong about the smell. That's
absolutely.
Fine.
We could agree with her, but then we'd all be wrong.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
We love you, Catherine.
Before we go, we'd like to give a shout out to our friend Andy Apodaca at the Palm Springs Linguist and Lynn and Ken at the Sweet Spot for their support and advice in getting this podcast up and running. You'll find both of these Disney vlogs on YouTube. A big thanks also to our social media coordinator, Riley Piper, audio engineers Joey Humphrey and Paul Trett, and logo designer Evan Piper. Our theme music composer is Jason Patrick Rowan and is licensed through Pond 5. And of course, thank you, Phoenicians.
Thank you, Phoenicians. And don't forget to rate, review, like, and subscribe. It really does help folks find us. You can find us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Epcotian Adventure is a $1,000 brunch production. Thanks for joining us today for episode 23 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And we'll see you in line.
Bye.
Is somebody the Alawani? Or, no.
I don't think so.